This right here is Car Con Carne. Car Con Carne is a Q101 podcast. I'm James VanOsdol, and Car Con Carne is brought to you by Exploding House Printing. They're based in Hermosa, and they specialize in screen printing, embroidery, and custom merch for bands and brands. Check them out on explodinghouseprinting.com. Get a quote, see all the people, businesses, bands, brands that they've worked with. explodinghouseprinting.com.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James VanOsdol.
So, after the Golden Line EP a couple years ago, Cult Canyon is set to release its debut album, Smoke Tricks, on March 13th. The album will be released on lovely vinyl via Rattleback Records, and the release will be celebrated with a live show at the Hideout the following night. Josh Chicoine, whose creative resume is deep, impressive, and familiar, joins me in the car on a rainy, dreary, just kind of shitty transitional winter into spring night.
Winter mix.
To talk about the album. Let's talk about Cult Canyon. We're here. The album's almost out as we're sitting here talking about it.
It is.
A lot of us came to know you from your time with the M's earlier this century. Have you metaphorically moved from the garage to the living room with these projects?
It feels like I have. I mean, there was definitely a lot of garage influences happening with the M's. Certainly a DIY spirit.
That kind of raw, immediate.
Yeah, I think we were trying to, well, it was of the time too. So this is the early 2000s. There was a lot of that stuff rolling around. And we kind of fit in to that mix and just wanted to bring our own little flavor, which is heavily, melodic, a lot of singing, a lot of gang vocals, which is one of my favorite things to do. And still, I guess, pop ethos, like major and minor chords, nothing crazy. But yeah, we got done with that, and I started a 3-piece singing group called Cloudbirds, and did that for about 3 years. And I was with a couple guys that were in the M's also, Joey King and Glenn Rishke. And that was definitely in the living room. That was acoustic guitars. Sometimes we had electric, but mostly acoustic music, and 3-part harmonies, and very folky. Mm-hmm. And it was a real welcome relief, I'd say, to, almost 10 years of loud guitars and bashing drums and shouting vocals.
You weren't beer-pounding kids anymore.
We were not. And we kind of got started late anyway. So by the time, 2009 rolled around, I was probably in my mid-30s, early 30s. Everybody was kind of getting into the 30s. So being on the road was just awful. I think I was about ready to have my first child. And so, yeah, the whole kind of idea shifted. And so we just kind of couldn't sustain that. So being in a singing group and just three guys, a lot easier to organize practices and singing some sweet melodies and harmonies. And that was more my style. And I kind of chased that for a little while. And then I had a new band called Sabres, and I tried to do the rock thing again in 2014 and self-released that record, put a lot of time into that record, and it was another big record. And I found out I was just really tired. And the idea of doing the DIY thing is that you have to do it yourself. So that means producing the record, promoting the record, getting all the artwork together, getting 5 now more grown people get together for any rehearsal, any show. I thought it was going to maybe be a bit easier, but it just wasn't. It wasn't easy. So
DIY is hard. We're doing DIY right now.
In a car.
This is how we do radio in 2026. I do it in my car with a couple of cheap...
See how the world has shifted for us both?
It is. I might say for the better.
One would argue or could argue.
Yeah. We're our own bosses.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there you go.
You're the CEO of Cult Canyon.
I am the CEO of Cult Canyon. I have a lot of, contributors and collaborators, which I'm very thankful for.
Let's talk about some of them. Alison Chesley. is a contributor.
She is. She is actually appearing on the latest record. There's only to go back to the Golden Line EP in 2019. So right before COVID, I released an EP called it was Josh Chicoine, and it's called Dream Believers. And I was imagining this trajectory where the next bunch of songs would include a string quartet. And so in early 2019, I recorded 3 songs including with Susan Voelz, who's a good friend also. And
she's delightful.
Yeah, she's delightful. She's an old friend. She's a great contributor. What a great spirit. And with her and a few other string players, and then COVID came. So I sat on this thing, and I sat on this thing for quite a while because part of the DIY situation that we're in now is that there's so much noise and there's so many competing avenues for attention, including your couch doing nothing. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sat on it and I didn't know what I was going to do. And so, I applied for a grant. It was really the Department of Cultural Affairs here in Chicago. They have an individual artist program, DCASE. Yeah. Shout out to DCASE. They have a grant program every year. And I applied and I said, I'm coming back in to making things, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a rock record in the city of Chicago using Chicago musicians at a Chicago studio. And that was really the kind of impetus to be like, okay, what do I want this Cold Canyon thing to be? And so that's when I look back at those Golden Line songs, which are really lush string arrangements done by our good friend Dave Max Crawford of Poi Dog Pondering and the Total Pro Horns. And he does a fantastic job. I've been collaborating with him since the M's. He did a lot of those string arrangements and horn arrangements and stuff. So he's really adept and really tasteful. And so I was just like, why not bring it in to everything that I'm doing and make Cold Canyon more of a catch-all and a place where for one, I can do what I want, and I can do it with others that I want to do it with, people that I love. And, Alison Chesley, I met her through Susan, because playing with quartets, you end up having a large staple of artists because people are busy, or they want more money than you want to give them or can give them on any given night. So I was able to meet and reach out to a bunch of string players and just continually find new ones in town that can fill a role for a time. And happily, Alison is on this record on a tune called Good Bad Habits.
I love it. And the album sounds great. Now, we're recording this right before it comes out, like I said. The album is Smoke Tricks. We, the public, have experienced some of it already. Real Sublime is a single. Mm-hmm. You shot a video for this one.
I did.
Was that your house you shot it in?
That was at my house, yeah.
Very tastefully appointed.
Thank you. That's all due to my wife.
We've got you in a convertible on the lakefront.
That's my buddy's Al's 67 Oldsmobile.
That's badass.
Pretty badass.
We all need a buddy like Al.
Al's the best. Yeah.
Convertible on the drive.
Cherry
Clearly
red.
Different time of year from when we're recording this.
Yes.
And is that the lake you jumped into, or did you shoot that?
Yeah, jumped into the lake. Another good friend of mine is a Great Lake jumper, Dan O'Connor.
They celebrated Great Lake Jumper.
They continually celebrate Great Lake Jumper. I think he's now doing it for 5 years straight every day. And so I started going out there and doing that. So it wasn't so far afield to imagine, because what are videos now? I don't even know what they are. But for this one, it was like, all right, Al, let's get in a car. Let's drive around. I got this GoPro. I'll stick it to your car, drive around, and then let's go to the lake and let's jump in the lake.
So it doesn't necessarily tie back to the lyrics or the theme?
I don't think so. I mean, but maybe somebody sees something that I don't. I think that's part of my MO, at least, is to leave enough, fog to allow for some interpretation.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, this is more of kind of a performance, roll around, get some good footage, put a 1989 VHS filter on it, and make it look cool and get it out.
And you're a fan of film and what can be done with movies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love film. I love movies. I love music movies. For 8 years, I was the co-founder and a director of the Chicago International Movies and Music Festival. And we were all over the place, throughout the city. And we would show movies from all over the world, like 33 countries usually were represented each year. And that was just, for me, it was fascinating to figure out how to build something like that could last, and to raise money for it, practicing all these adult skills that being in a van, in a band on tour, you're not really practicing too much.
Do you miss doing SimFest?
There's a lot of it that I do. I really miss just the people and the spirit. I mean, we had an incredible group of volunteers that would come every year, and really they were the ones that were able to activate this thing. And so I loved sitting around and dreaming. I loved, building marketing materials, if only because then I could have something to go and take to people that I knew and a network that I was building. And I thought it was really a cool thing for the city. And it really got me in touch with a lot of old friends and made so many new friends. And it kept me, this was right after the M's. And the M's were kind of media darlings and played a lot of shows. And, I knew a lot of club owners, and I knew publicists, and I knew a lot of that network. So it kind of allowed me personally to stay connected to that world.
Yeah, I get it.
And coming out of there, that's what my kind of career goals were. I was just like, okay, I want to stay in this world. I want to stay connected to these people. So it was my friend Ilko Davidov, who's a Bulgarian filmmaker, and it was his concept. And I was just sort of the right person that was able to kind of hoodwink a bunch of people into coming on board and give me a bunch of money and be able to try to make this thing into a sustainable institution. We never quite got there. It's always resource light, and operations heavy. And never quite got there, but it's just some great memories, and really happy and really proud of what we were able to build.
Thinking about film and music and making short music films, I wondered this out loud on this podcast before, but I feel like this is a golden moment. This is the time for artists to explore that side of things. I mean, it's not like the 1980s when I grew up. I'm a little bit older than you, when videos were bankrolled by record labels and there were millions of dollars. Like, you grabbed a GoPro, you threw it on the dash. Like, this is a real opportunity for creative expression, I think. I don't know if enough independent artists are taking advantage of it.
I mean, if you look at, I have to disagree. I feel like, the barriers are down, and people now, everybody's got a pretty decent camera in their pocket at all times. Since the barriers are down, and since everybody's got a camera, you can do whatever you want, put it up there, and I'm not going to say it's good. Most of it's not. Most of it's schlock, but you at least have the opportunity to make something that's decent. And the technology affords
great at editing. You can cobble stuff together.
You really can. I mean, I use a really cheap editing software.
Can I ask? Because
it's called CapCut.
Okay.
And the same company, I can't remember what they're called. The TikTok Corporation, ByteDance. Yeah, it's a ByteDance product. And I got it because it was cheap, and another friend of mine was using it. And he was making some cool stuff, so I was just like, all right, I just got to dive in and start doing stuff. And so that's what I did.
That's DIY. Roll up your sleeves. Let's get to it.
Yeah. It's just, I had spent, SimFest was so much about favors and so much about waiting for favors from people that you were either getting a deep discount from or not paying at all. And I know the pain, and it's real. So if you have any kind of means by which you can get a hold of this stuff, then it's just about putting the work in, and time is mine to give or throw away. So it's just sort of, keep getting better and better. I mean, other people can be the judge of that, but I feel pretty good about what I've been able to do with hardly any resources.
Right. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, going back to this album, Smoke Tricks, again, available on March 13th. Bitter Birdies is how we begin.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen closely, actually, you don't even need to listen that closely. There are dogs barking at the beginning of the song.
Yeah, Ralphie.
I was going to ask.
It's my doggy.
You were aware when you were recording the dog was part of it, right?
Yeah, well, my co-producer on this is Todd Rittman, And Todd Redmond was in U.S. Maple. I don't know if you remember that band, affiliated with Chirax and
Artie,
folks.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in Dead Rider. For everybody out there who's watching, check out Dead Rider. Yeah, he's fascinating. He's got a great little studio called Shy Diamond Studio down in Logan, just north of Fullerton. And, him and I kind of cobbled this thing together, and I never expected that the piano tracks were final. So I would just like make demos at my house. And then I would send them to Todd, and I'd be like, here's what I'm thinking for this song. And then we would try and fit it in somehow. And he's a maestro. He was just like, I love, you're not taking away the dog's bark. We're keeping it in there 100%. So I was like, all right, let's go. Piano sounded fine, sounded good. It's my piano in my living room. I loved it. And that's my boy Ralphie. So it's my spirit animal, and I'm glad he's on the record too.
Good boy, Ralphie.
He's a very good boy.
On this song, I know you want people to interpret songs as, as any artist would suggest, like this.
I want to feel connection, right?
But you do mention Stuck Here in Chicago.
Yeah.
In that song, were you feeling? Do you feel a weird relationship with the city? Do you feel?
I think I love Chicago. It's my favorite city. It's especially my favorite city to come back to. I don't know if you ever leave for like a little while, but when you come back, it's just like,
especially when you're driving back home and like you catch that first glimpse of the skyline.
Yeah.
That is a moment.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when I got that grant from DCASE, it was like, oh no, now I got to write a record. And every time, for me at least,
they called your bluff
to write a record. I have to figure out how to write a record again. And that, it's like a lot of introspection and a lot of like, who am I now? What am I going to write about now? And it took me a long time. And Bitter Birdies kind of came about based upon that piano that opens it up. I had that piece for a long time, but it's sort of like lyrically, I wasn't quite sure. And my wife and I are going to be married 25 years in June.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Big milestone.
Yeah. It's been wonderful. And but 7 years into our relationship, there was a breakup. Post-college, I mean, I was dating her since I was 19, so I've known her for a long time. So yeah, moved to Chicago, joined a band, our lives were diverging. And so we broke up. And she quit her job. She was like working at a financial firm downtown. And, I was in a band, so you can see divergence.
For sure.
But yeah, she quit her job. She went on walkabout in Europe for 6 months. And I took myself back to that time. And that time was sort of very freeing and very fun at the beginning. And then the longing just really set in. And, the longer my notes and messages would go to her, the shorter and shorter that they came back to me. So it appeared like she was moving on, and there was something really heart-wrenching about that for me. So yeah, that song was about that. So, she was having this really great experience and seeing all new things and new people, and I was here stuck in Chicago. So I was living in a loft space where Salvage One is now off of Hubbard, between Wood and Walcott, with these crazy artist people, and there were raves, and I was making a bunch of music. So it was just like this Kevin Bacon Quicksilver life that I was living. And I just started to really miss her no matter what. And I was just like, what if she came back here and she lived with me in this hovel, and we could do this together. And that's sort of the kind of emotional impulse that I felt from writing that and wanting to get out of it, wanting to get out of that space. So nothing against Chicago. I love Chicago, but there's definitely moments where you're just like, God, get me out of here.
Write what you know.
I think that's what I came back to when I was confronted with that idea. And I keep a quote book, and Louise Bourgeois said that if you're not writing about yourself, then it doesn't mean anything. And I'm screwing that quote up, but I really took that to heart. So I was like, okay, well, then I am going to write about myself and my experiences because it's all that I have, really, that I can feel a connection with. Oh, but it's okay up there. I got an ambulance.
Yeah, ambulance, police car.
Normal.
Stuck in Chicago. Here we are. Run Red Lights, which I don't recommend. I mean, I recommend the song. Who's doing the backup vocals on that?
Yeah, so I have my friend Melissa and Lindsay, Melissa Busch-Wolford and Lindsay Weinberg. And they play with me in a Fleetwood Mac tribute band.
I was going to ask about that.
Called Secondhand News. Good segue.
But the reason why I bring up the backup vocals, a really nice texture in that song in particular.
Thank you. Yeah.
And that actually dovetails perfectly to the question about being part of Secondhand News, because you play with those harmonies, which are magical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly, you bring some of that back to Cold Canyon.
I think for me, it's always sort of been there. You can hear it in the M's. You can hear, if you listen to Sabres, you can hear it there too. Certainly with Cloudbirds, it was very, very much about the harmonies. And as I started to enter into this promo world of Cold Canyon, I was just trying to think about things that were a common thread, and harmonies, singing, that's how I kind of come up with ideas. I just kind of start with the voice, have something on the guitar that's fine. I'm a mediocre guitar player, but it's really about voice and vocals. And so when I started playing in Secondhand News, I had never been in a band with women before. I've played music with women before, but not in a band. So it was sort of like, oh, this whole nother resource that I would love to bring into this project. And they were so game. And, they brought their whole selves to it. And I think it really shows in the recording. So, yeah, there's harmonies all over this record, and hardly any song without harmonies, really.
Since we're on the topic of Fleetwood Mac, Tusk, misunderstood classic or big awful mess?
Can it be both?
Depends on which side you're on. Yeah.
I was really naive about Tusk, and I had it in my record collection, just from a bunch of records that somebody gave me. And I think at one point, because there's 2 record sleeves in it, they both got kind of separated. So all of a sudden I had 4 record sleeves separated, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a quadruple album. This is crazy. But it wasn't. There's a record sleeve that hides another record sleeve that has the record in it. That's how much money and wasteful money that they had.
Because that's coming off Rumors. They could do whatever they wanted.
Whatever they wanted.
Lindsay Buckingham could do whatever he wanted.
And he really did. He really did. And some of it, it could be argued that he shouldn't have done it, but we still play a bunch of jams off of there.
The title track to me is still one of the coolest songs of the 1970s.
Yeah. Super cool. I mean, there's a lot on there that are really unheralded. Think About Me is another really good one that we love to play.
Sarah's on that too, right?
Oh God, I'm going to get killed by my bandmates. Sarah's on there. Yeah, it's on there. Let's say yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's not look it up. But yeah, we play Sarah all the time, and it's 7 minutes long, and the audience loves it, and Melissa crushes it. And yeah, those are just really fun songs to play. And the audiences are crazy. It's there's 18-year-olds there.
I was going to say
88-year-olds there. It's nuts.
That's one of those bands that is transgenerational. My daughter, who's heading towards 21, Stevie Nicks is probably a top 5 artist for her. For her birthday a few years ago, I took her to see Stevie Nicks at the United Center, and it was this magical night for her. We walked out of the United Center, and she said, I only cried 3 times. I'm what do you mean you cried? Well, during Gold Dust Woman and, what else did she cry
Dreams.
During? Rhiannon. And, Landslide.
Of course. Yeah. Classics.
But, I mean, it is interesting how maybe millennials didn't give a shit, but suddenly Gen Z is full on board with
I take it back to that dude who was on the skateboard chugging cranberry juice, and all of a sudden Dreams became something. But it just feels like it's cyclical. It keeps coming back. Those songs are just so classic.
They're timeless. Absolutely
timeless. And the recordings of them were amazing. So it just seems like they're just not going to go away, which is great for Secondhand News.
Yeah,
amazing. I mean, we played the Metro a couple weeks ago. That's just
that's amazing.
It's nuts. Yeah,
I love it. And to your point, all ages get into it.
Yes,
that's something you don't get to experience necessarily
Yeah.
in the M's or called Canyon. Like this is,
it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different for sure. And I think that I've been told this by a lot of audience members after the show, and they're just like glowing, coming out after scream singing at us for 2 hours. And they just say, like, you bring so much joy. And I really feel that. It's like, we do. I mean, the band is killer. And so the band in Secondhand News, the guitar player, bassist, drummer, Mike, and Dan, they play in Cold Canyon too. So they're the ones who are the backing band on this Cold Canyon record. So I was enamored with this whole group, and just because we had such good times together on stage and in front of giant crowds and harmonizing and singing and playing those classic songs. So it was just kind of a natural little pivot to bring them into my songwriting, and I was really happy that they did.
I love it. So Rattleback Records, easily a favorite record store of mine, releasing the album on vinyl. How important was it for you to have this on as a record, as an LP?
It was critical for me. I think one of the things, so I released the Sabres record in 2014, and it kind of, like many records out there that just kind of it's like, okay, it's out there. And then you tell your friends, and then it just doesn't really go anywhere.
And that ambitious ordering of 500 records turns into, okay, we're still sitting on 250.
I have a lot of CDs. Yeah. Well, I'll put it to you that way. Hit me up if you want a CD by Sabres. I'll just give it to you. It's got, anyway. Yeah, so I think I was determined to at least try and make a stink with this Cold Canyon record. And I really liked it. And so one of the first things I did was I talked to my friends in the AM Slingers, who are another Rattleback band, and they're friends of mine too. And I knew that Paul over at Rattleback had put out a 7-inch of theirs. And by put out, I mean he paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he facilitated the production, and then, created a connection between the band and the record store. Really love that idea. It's going to be DIY anyway. It's all about building community, bit by bit by bit. So, I was introduced to Paul, I don't even remember when. It's probably a year ago now, if not more. And he was really intrigued, and I sent him a bunch of songs, including the Golden Line EP, which he really loved. And that just gave me a lot of confidence. And so I took this Smoke Tricks record, and I was like, I'm really looking for somebody to help me out with this. And he was game and continues to be game.
I love that.
It was his dream to have a boutique record store. And that happened. And then it was his dream to have a boutique little tiny record label. So that happened. So
I've never been in that store, by the way, when it hasn't been busy.
Oh, good.
No, yeah. I love going there. Like, they've got one of the best, I think, mixes of new and used, and their prices are very reasonable.
I agree. Yeah, and they got a lot of cool tchotchkes around, good T-shirt collection. It's like a proper record store. And
if you're one of those budget bin divers, like they're dollar records, you'll hurt your knees going through them. Yeah. But I mean, there's occasionally gold to find in there.
I agree. It's everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool place. I mean, right over there on Clark Street. Yeah. And I love just that kind of, not to sound corny, but that brand extension for Rattleback. Like, it makes so much sense to.
I love that. I love that for Paul. I love that we were able to become a part of that. And we're putting on a showcase of Rattleback Records artists May 29th at the Burlington.
Nice.
Also. So we'll be able to celebrate that too.
Which, for the record, one of the loudest rooms in Chicago.
That's right. We'll do what we can, but I mean, it's hard. It's like a lot of hard, flat surfaces.
Yes.
And they didn't do any soundproofing or nothing. So, yeah. That's good. It's
part of its charm.
It's part of the charm. Uh-huh. Yeah. You know what you're getting into when you go back there.
Yeah.
But
love
bring earplugs. What's the big deal?
Just bring it. If you bring earplugs, you're good.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you go deaf, I mean, who better to go deaf from?
Yeah. That's
a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor. I mean, it's not good recommendation, I would say.
Right.
But if you want good earplugs, just go to Sensophonics down there on Milwaukee Avenue.
That's right.
Shout out. Yesterday was National Hearing Day, and I got my self-fitted for a new pair of earplugs. And it
That's
basically...
no joke.
No, it's no joke. If you listen to a lot of live music, it basically just turns the volume down. The clarity is still there. It's versus sticking toilet paper in your ears or those foam things.
That's exactly what that feels. Well, there's like pool noodles shrunk down.
Yeah, that's right. They're good if you want to sleep. If you're like on tour and everybody else snores in your hotel room, then those are really effective.
For sure. All right. So Smoke Tricks is the album. It's awesome. It comes out on March 13th. Hideout is the release show on March 14th, and onward and upward. What a great record. You really did it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. That was nice talking to you. Are we done?
We're done.
Is this the wrap?
This is the wrap.
All right. Love it.